80th and Scott Road. And Alan, I'm going to start off the show. We're going to be talking about a product called C-NAG, and I want to kick it off by telling you about Ruth's story. Ruth writes to us and says, I have been taking C-NAG for my Crohn's disease for about 6 weeks, and I've noticed a remarkable difference after only 1 week. I've not had any Crohn's pain for more than 30 days. I have a slight bowel problem only if I overdo it with my diet. I have a lot of confidence in C-NAG. And C-NAG is a product that is available at Mark's Pharmacy. And on the phone we have Barrie Carlsen. He's a long-term pioneer in the natural health industry. Barrie, welcome to the HealthWorks radio show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be back.
Now, I just read Ruth's story there about her issues. She's had Crohn's disease and she's had a lot of problems like that. Tell us why a product like C-NAG would be beneficial to someone like a Ruth out there.
Well, C-NAG is called the glue of the body. It's the material that holds the cells of the body together. And I like to use the simile of if you have a pile of bricks and you arrange them in the right order to make a wall, that wall is not strong because you can just push it over. But if you use the mortar so that the bricks solidify in the mortar, then you have a strong wall. So the body's cells are like those bricks, and the mortar is NAG. This is the material that gives structure to the body. Now, in the cases of inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, and so on, the lining of the gut from the stomach, actually, from the small intestine to the bowel, is composed of this material produced by the body from NAG. It's a mucus lining. It protects the lining from reintroducing back into the body toxins, for instance, that might come through our diet. It also provides the lubrication, so that especially in the bowel, so that the feces will move through the bowel without pain or restriction. Now, in cases of Crohn's disease, the body's enzymes, which are attacked by the body's own immune system, are not producing enough NAG to repair this intestinal lining. And in the bowel, the cell turnover rate, they call it, is the fastest in the body. Every 2 to 3 days, every cell in the intestine lining is replaced. And that takes NAG to do it. Now, in a healthy person, of course, NAG is produced from the dietary glucose and proteins, amino acids. In the case of NAG, is L-glutamine. So glutamine and glucose combine with the help of this enzyme to produce NAG. And this is the building block of the body. So in all cases, pretty well, of bowel disease, that lining is not enough to protect the body, provide the proper lubrication. You get friction, which leads to pain, bleeding, constipation, all these things, and also poor absorption of nutrients as well. So NAG is a wonderful thing to take to help the body to repair itself. It's like the oil in an engine of a car. If you don't have the oil, the engine soon runs hot and seizes up. So you need this material in the body, and unfortunately with autoimmune diseases like Crohn's disease, the body can't make enough. Make it fast enough.
Barrie, I know that my clinical experience at Mark's Pharmacy, 80th and Scott Road, is that people are coming in, they're picking up a bottle of NAG. Sometimes they just pick up a 2-week supply, and they just, at the end of the 2 weeks, they can't believe the difference of what they feel in that, especially because of, severe kinds of irritable bowel issues. Because I know that the C-NAG has that approval from Health Canada with an NPN number, meaning it does work on any kind of irritable bowel symptoms. They get relief. They're getting that pain and suffering that they're experiencing that they may have in the past taken prescription drugs or prescription narcotics, codeine or oxycodone or some very strong painkillers just to get over the pain. It's really about getting good nutrition to our body because we need it. We're not getting it in our diet, or as we age, we're not absorbing it. And you can now normalize the gut again and be pain-free. Really, that's what we're talking about.
Exactly, and it works even beyond the bowel, or the intestinal lining. We've had reports of people with rheumatoid arthritis, very severe pain in the knees, in particular the knees. And because that material, that lining, that lubrication within the joint also is composed of NAG. The turnover rate is not as fast as it is in the stomach and the intestine, but it's still not, the body can't make enough to keep those joints lubricated, and NAG definitely helps. We get almost as many people reporting good results from rheumatoid arthritis.
We read Ruth's email. We're going to hear from another user of Cnag. Anne is on the line. Anne, how long have you had issues, and what kind of results did you get?
A couple of weeks now. First of all, I had irritable bowel syndrome, and I'm happy to say that after taking Cnag, my irritable bowel syndrome has been helped and cleared up. And I also have osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, and found that after taking Cnag, overnight the pain in my hands was gone. I still get emotional over it. And I can now make a fist, which I have not been able to do for 12 years.
Isn't that amazing, Barrie?
Yes, it is. It does us, so good to hear this kind of reports from people, because these people have suffered for years. They're in pain, and when they get relief, it's like a miracle to them, and certainly ego boost for us in a way.
That's right. Barrie. So when I have clients come in and we can't get rid of the pain in 90 seconds, we say, well, okay, the next step, if they're suffering from inflammation in their joints, or if they're suffering from, obviously a pain in their gut, is we do recommend Cnag. It's very easy to take. There are hardly any side effects. No one's reported back anything negative that I've heard. You just take 3 of these capsules in the morning, and you take 3 of these in the evening, and wait, and within a week or two, you start seeing the effect, especially in the gut, because when our cells are being replaced so quickly, I've heard anywhere 3, 4 every 7 days, the whole gut lining is replaced. So you need a lot of good nutrition to keep putting new cells in and have the cells make the right kind of barrier, so our guts don't get irritated. We don't get a lot of stuff. We stop the quote-unquote leaky gut syndrome, which can aggravate a lot of other medical conditions. So it's really important, if you are suffering from pain in your gut, give yourself a chance to come into Mark's Pharmacy, get some Cnag, try it out. As a matter of fact, when you mention it, that you've heard Cnag on the radio, we'll give you a $5 radio coupon. Just tell me or my staff you heard this on CKNW, and you get $5 off your next bottle of Cnag at Mark's Pharmacy, 80th and Scott Road.
So, Barrie, we've talked about problems that people have, and Cnag seems to be doing wonders for them in terms of arthritis and Crohn's disease. Alan touched and mentioned on inflammation. What other health problems can Cnag help a person with?
Well, one of the things that is very definitely of help is celiac disease. Celiac disease is in some ways similar. It's an autoimmune disease, and in the upper intestine, the little villi that absorb nutrients are damaged by the body's own autoimmune system, and the lining is destroyed. Cnag can help replace that. So even celiacs who are, have to be very, very careful their diet, especially with anything with gluten in it. Cnag can give a much better protection, much better lifestyle, as it were, ease of life, because the pain is reduced.
And it's not just for, seniors and older people dealing with things like arthritis. What about things in terms of athletes and people that maybe just have overdone it? How could Cnag help them?
Well, not as much or as dramatically as with Crohn's disease, of course. But any joint in the body, and athletes, of course, are running, jumping, whatever. There are a lot of stress is put on the joints, and Cnag helps the body to replace that lining, that mucus lining, which gives the lubrication, makes the joints move easily, so you don't have the pain. This is, again, I always like to, when you grease your car, you're lubricating the joints so they don't squeak, they don't dry out, and that's basically what NAG is. It's called the glue of the body by the scientists, because it's just like that. It builds and repairs. Now, NAG is an actual part of the body's repair mechanism. It completely natural process. And unfortunately, NAG is not available normally from the food because none of the foods contain NAG. The body has to make it from the ingredients of food, such as glucose and proteins. So that's why it's a wonderful thing that we now can give it as a dietary supplement that will replace the body's, or at least assist the body in repairing itself. Disease states the body can't repair itself fast enough, and therefore C-NAG or NAG will help. And the C of C-NAG is the vitamin C component, because repairing the process, vitamin C is intimately involved in the biosynthesis of C-NAG, and so we need to have vitamin C present at the same time the NAG is there.
Our guest has been Barrie Carlsen. Thank you for joining us here today on the HealthWorks radio show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
And of course, more information on Cnag and all topics you hear on throughout the show are available at healthworksradio.com. We'll take a quick break and be back with more of the HealthWorks radio show here on